Hello, beautiful people. I'm popping on for an impromptu live. I just got off of a call within Mission Space, which is my membership for people who are on a path of purpose, who are clarifying what their calling is, and who are doing that deep process of becoming who they came here to be during this time of great change, deepening their relationship with God, learning about what their gifts are, and bringing their dreams to life. And we do a monthly call, and I just had such a powerful conversation at the end of the call that I immediately, as soon as I got off the Zoom, I was like, I just want to jump on Instagram Live and share some of what we were talking about. So howdy to those of you who are joining live. I only have about 15 minutes or so. So if you have any questions as well, you're welcome to ask them as I share. So the main point of what I want to share right now is that your mission, your purpose is to be yourself. And if you've been around here for a while, you've heard me say that before. And I'm going to keep saying it because it's really important, and it runs very counter to the conditioning that most of us grew up with, right? This kind of industrial capitalist corporate conditioning, like this, and also this reward punishment dynamic with God, where we have to do stuff that we really don't want to do, that goes against our essential nature. The industrial capitalist piece is more of this energy of, you pick one job and you do it well forever, and you define yourself by that, and there's some element of it being really hard or not satisfying. And on the call today in Mission Space, someone was sharing, she said something, and if she's listening, I'm sending you love and grateful for what you brought through. She said something like, I don't really know what my mission is. And then she proceeded to talk about and mention these really big dreams that are on her heart, and this devotion that she's bringing to her life and her healing process, and this process of awakening, of learning about herself, and this real sincerity that she brings to life. And as she was sharing the whole time, I was thinking, this is your mission. You already know, right? You actually already know what you're here to do. And so much of the process of understanding our path of purpose it's a deconditioning process, right? It's this process of clearing away all these layers and these programs that are in the way of us just being who we naturally are. And a lot of folks on the call were resonating with this process of, like, could it be that simple? Could I actually just do the stuff that I love the most, that I uniquely love, and trust that is enough? And that's part of the process that we're in right now. And there are, of course, projects that we're here to bring forward, right? There's gifts that we're here to bring forward in certain forms. But the way I was describing on the call is, it's like being an artist, right? Where the artist is kind of always an artist, right? They're always working in some way, right? They're always getting inspired. They're taking notes on things, but they're not necessarily producing their album every day, right? They're in this process of getting inspired, collecting things, and then at a certain divinely timed moment, then it's time to create the album. And that's the way that I think about mission and purpose as well, is that we can never really be off our path, especially if we're living with sincerity, right? Especially if we're getting to know ourselves, especially if we're letting go of fear and we're getting closer to God, and we're operating with more faith and more love. And we've been so programmed to feel like, I'm not on mission, or I'm not being on purpose if I'm not, like, producing something, if I don't have a personal brand or a project or an organization or a company that's doing something good for everybody right now, right? And it's not that it's not that prescriptive, right? It's what we're moving into. It's very, if you're familiar with human design, that's a very cross of planning energy. That's the collective incarnation cross that we've been in for the last 400 years, and we're getting close. We're like 18 months out from it changing now. in February of 2027. We're moving out of this prescriptive way of living where our worth is defined by our productivity, and where, we're kind of stuck in these boxes. We're stuck in these prescribed ideas of what it means to be a good person, what it means to be of service. And a lot of us are like, there's hard work involved in the journey of awakening, the journey of becoming who we really are. But also there's a point where some of the hard work becomes the discipline of actually letting it be simpler. The discipline of letting your heart want what it wants. The discipline of saying, I actually already know what my vision is, and now I'm going to make it real. And that's another sneaky thing that can come in, is that we come up with a lot of unconscious excuses or reasons why it's not time for the thing that we know we want to create or what we want to experience. And so it kind of keeps our vision in the future, rather than, if it's a possibility for it to happen right now, then we have to do something. Then we have to believe in ourselves. Then we have to surrender more to God. Then we have to take action. We have to build skills, right? We have to have hard conversations with people sometimes. We have to stop being a false version of ourselves. So a lot of what we're being invited into in this new season of life is that there is a kind of gung-ho, fiery masculine energy of like, it's go time. It's time to move forward, to create. And at the same time, there's also relaxing. It's really like healthy masculine, healthy feminine, right? And we've been in wounded masculine, wounded feminine. We've been in the overdrive, go, hustle, bro, that type of energy. And then we've also been in kind of a collapsed feminine energy, which is that stagnancy, that like lack of movement, that lack of structure, that kind of like a false surrender, where you're more like stuck rather than surrendering as merging with the all, right? A kind of replenishing, aligned surrender. So we're moving into a healthier expression of both of those, where we can do more and relax more, and where we can live more in flow. And the hard part, again, is less, and I'm glad it's resonating. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to put in the comments what's standing out to you. The hard work is a lot of is in the realm of shedding limitations, right? It's like, oh, if I actually could live my dream right now, if I actually could bring my vision to life, then what would I have to do? Who would I have to say no to? What would I have to stop wasting my time with, right? What excuses would I have to let go of? That's the stuff that's challenging. And there can be grief there, because a lot of us, most people have lived lives that are based in falsity on some level, right? That are based in some type of artifice to just keep yourself safe, right? So there's a shedding of that happening right now. And that's also why we see so much drama happening in the world, because there's a lot of free energy that's getting freed up by the end of the old that's happening. And it's available for us to use to create something new, but we have less to use to create something new when we're looping in the old, when we're reinforcing our fears, when we're getting distracted by other people's lives, all of that. So that's what I came on here to say, just inspired by this conversation that we had in Mission Space. And if you needed to hear it, do something about it, right? What out of this has stood out to you? What was it that you needed to hear from this around what if your mission was to be yourself? And what if now was the time to say yes to that dream that you've always had? And that's, I'll add one more layer, which is that this beautiful soul who was sharing this on our call, she was saying something like, if it's God's will, for me to do this thing that I really want to do, then I want to do it. And at a certain point in our process, right, there's a major piece around surrendering, around letting God, life, purify our desires, right? Purify out the lower desires, things we want out of fear or conditioning, things like that. But at a certain point, that my will to thy will becomes really anchored into our field. And God's like, I know. You're surrendering your life every day. You're living in devotion. And of course, this applies if you're living in that way. And at a certain point, we're shedding out this kind of false God programming where we're like, God, if it's your will for me to do the thing that lights me up the most and contributes the most to the world because I'm in my joy, let me do it. There's a certain point where we stop having that conversation and we trust the yes that's within us, and we know inherently that we will be redirected if it's actually not for our highest good. And so that's a layer of the religious programming. We're also working on that a bit in Holy Liberation right now, letting ourselves want what we want, letting our heartfelt desires be our compass and a map to our authenticity, a map to our highest contribution. And I think a lot of people still have a kind of a programming or association of, if my mission is to be myself and just to be in the flow of life, then, am I really going to do anything? Is that enough? Usually, when we're in a place of flow, when we're doing what we love, it's very creative. You get inspired to do more and more and more, and it happens with less and less friction, more and more flow. So what's that dream that you have? What's that thing that you're like, if I had divine permission, right? If I really could do it, I would do it now. Can you start to do it now? There's something you can do right now. There's some way you can start to say yes to that dream. You can go inside and you can ask your heart, what's my next step? And the biggest thing is just to take that dream out of the future and bring it now and say, I'm not going to say one day maybe I'll get to do this finally when I've been a good boy or girl or anybody, and finally I'll get to do the thing that I really want to do, that really would light my heart up. We take it out of the future, we bring it now, and we say, today's the day that I said yes to bringing this into reality, and to not pushing off even the guidance about how to get there, because that's what happens when we put it in the future. It's an excuse to not let the information arrive right away. So saying today's the day where this process actually starts. You can symbolically put something on your phone background, on your altar, that holds the energy of the vision, and you can start to ask the question of, if this was possible, what would I be doing? If I was allowed to have this dream, what would I be doing now? How would I be moving? What questions would I be asking? And then the work starts to come. You're like, I need to train in this. I need to develop this skill. I need to do some more inner work on believing in myself. Right? The path starts to unfold. So that's what I got for you right now. This was a conversation that happened in Mission Space, which is my membership and resource library for people who are on the divine path, who know that they're here to discover who they're here to be at this time of great change, to bring forward creations and contributions that are part of building this new era on earth from a place of love, a place of alignment, God connection. That's something I've mentioned it here and there, but it's been a bit more behind the scenes as the energy's been clarifying and just allowing that space to really find its place, find its energy, seeing what people really need there. So I'm going to be sharing more about it in divine timing. If you feel a ping to learn more about it, you're welcome to send me a DM, and my team will send you over some information. But for now, we'll be sharing more about it in the next couple of months. And the last thing that I'll say on a resource level right now is that today is July 1st. My birthday is next week, and that means that it's almost time for the Mission Template reading sale. That this is the third year in a row that I'm doing it, so it's officially a tradition. It's a thing we do. And these are readings that are a deep dive on your soul blueprint, on what your soul came here to do, who your soul came here to be, your gifts, your contribution, the ways you're most likely to misperceive your contribution, to deny your gifts. And we also do an I Ching reading on just what your next steps are. it's a really timeless transmission. It's like a timeless, you could listen to it 5 years from now and it will still resonate. And there's also a timely quality to it in terms of what's next for you right now. I'm only opening 8 spots. I've got a lot of other things that I'm in creation on. A lot of my divine assignment right now is about distilling my gifts and my teachings in a way that they can reach more people, reach the people who are meant to receive them. So that's mostly through Mission Space and also through God is My Boss, which is my program on turning your gifts into a business. If that's part of your divine path, that will be coming in the fall. So if you know that that's something that you want to learn more about, then keep an eye out for that. But my divine assignment is really on these turning everything that I've been saying to people more one-on-one into things that can help more people. So I only have space for 8 people, and the readings are going to be on a bit of a sale as well in celebration of my birthday, and they're going to open up on July 7th. So that's when an email will go out to the priority list, and it'll be first come, first serve who's meant to claim a spot. So I'm just giving Instagram a few heads up about that. If you are interested in one of those readings, you can go to the link in my bio and join the priority list, and that'll give you'll be the first one to get the link when they open. And it's really for you if you know you feel a resonance with me, right? I'm a projector in human design, so my work is based on recognition and invitation. If you feel like my site on your charts, human design, astrology, gene keys, I Ching, would be supportive for you at this time, then that's a great reason to book a reading. It's also great if you are questioning, like, what am I here to do? What is next? And it's also great if you're on your path of purpose and you know that it would be medicinal for you to have a reflection. I don't publicly do mission template readings throughout the year, but I often find myself probably like once every couple of months, I have a friend or a colleague that I'll do one for. And I just did one for a friend last week, and she's very established in her work and very clear, but there was something very medicinal about getting that reflection of like, yes, you are on your path. This is what you're here to do. And, little fine tunings on aspects of the exact medicine that she's bringing through and old patterns that she's clearing, things like that. So that's a mission template reading. You can see the info about it at the link in my bio if you feel called. And that's it, folks. This has been an impromptu live brought to you by the inspiration of Mission Space and the beautiful squad that is there. And I know that this is an intense time for pretty much everybody. And I just want you to know that you're loved, and you're going to look back in a couple of years and really understand the depth of the work that you were doing and the results that you were working towards. That it's like the divine gifts that are going to emerge from this time that we don't even necessarily understand what they're going to be, because it's such a new consciousness, it's such a new level of experience. But there's a lot of merit in doing whatever you can to stay grounded, to stay focused, to stay in your heart, to ask that question every day of, what's the gift that I've been given and how can I pass it on? What's the highest contribution I can make to the whole? And what's the energy that I feel that the world needs more of? And how can I be that energy? So if the world needs more peace, how can I be more peaceful in myself and in my day-to-day life? If the world needs more courage, how can I express my courage? If the world, from your vantage point, needs more understanding, more forgiveness, more compassion, more spaciousness, right? How can you bring that? How can you be that? That's ultimately our highest contribution. And from that place of being, whatever doing, whatever projects, whatever actions are meant to come, will come. All right, folks. This has been beautiful. I'm sending you all lots of love, and I will see you in another now moment. Take care.